Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at John chapter 5, verses 11 through 13. But first, last time, here is our rubric, everything that we look for as we go through the text. Let's go ahead and get started. Ho de apokrithe autois, ho poiesas, me hugie, ekenos moi epen, aron ton grabaton su kai peripate. Erotesan auton, tis estin ho anthropos ho epon soi, aron kai peripate. Ho de ia theis uk eide tis estin. Hogar Jesus exenusen oklu ontos en toi topoi. And there we have it. We have at the beginning apokrithe, which should be very familiar for us, so I'm not going to parse that. But note that we have the article acting as a preposition referring to the man who was healed. And then with autois, omicron, iota, sigma are dative plural. And in this case, it's going to be masculine because it's referring to the Jews as the indirect object of apokrithe. And then ho begins what he says, so I'm going to add quote marks there. And then poiesos with that alpha sigma, but no augmenting vowel at the beginning. We know that this is going to be a participle with the eta sigma right there. We know it's going to be the aorist stem. Alpha sigma is the nominative ending for these participles. So nominative singular, masculine, aorist, active participle. And I should write that down, sorry. Then we have me with hugie as the object of this preposition, me being the accusative case, and hugie with that eta right there as the accusative modifying me. This is hugies eta sigma for the nominative singular, I think. So this eta is an unusual accusative, but clearly it does happen. Accusative. Masculine because hugie me doesn't show that. Ekenos, we have omicron sigma there for our subject, so no need to parse it. Moi, likewise, don't need to parse it. We've seen it enough times. Likewise, epen. And I'm going to pause there and write everything down. And then here with Aaron, we enter not an indirect quote, a quote within his direct speech. So I'm going to put a single quote mark there. Aaron we saw from the previous page. It's exactly what Jesus said. And this is going to be our aorist imperative, but I'm not going to parse it again. Krabaton, accusative, singular, masculine because there's a nu in the article there, rather than no nu. Su possessing krabaton, kai peripate. This is going to be the same form also as previously, which was the present imperative. And then this ends his quote of Jesus and his own quote. So let's write that down. Yeah, that's a very separated quote. But moving on, they answer him. Erotesan, sigma alpha nu there for the third person plural off of the aorist stem. And it is active and indicative, meaning they asked him. Auton as the object of that. Entering their direct quote. Tis from tis t. So with that article right here, we know we have a question, which makes sense. Eroteson, but this is nominative, singular, masculine, with estin, a third singular, present, active, indicative. And then we have our actual predicate there, anthropos, with omicron sigma, no need to parse that. And then what I was about to say, we have our article with a participle. Omega nu with this other type of aorist. I don't remember if it's a first aorist or a second aorist between the two of them. Poieso e poiesa, whereas we've got lego ero epon. I don't remember. It's one of those things that I never learned very well, but we have the omega nu for this type of aorist, whether it be first or second, and alpha sigma for the other type. But same form there between the two. Then aran kai peripate. Again, we don't need to parse them since we've already done that. But it's curious that they're leaving out the bed. I wonder why. I don't know if there's any particular reason other than accuracy, or maybe John is saving on parchment. I don't know. So then they end their question right there. Looks like with 13 we have new subject, so there's that. And I should write all this down. On into 13, we have another article with a participle. Gosh, I almost said preposition again. But epsilon, iota, sigma for this one. This comes from ia, omai. So it's a deponent, which I'm probably going to fail to write down, but specifically it's a middle deponent acting upon the subject. So then we have with this theta, the aorist passive stem, and epsilon, iota, sigma as the nominative singular masculine off the aorist passive, which is quite normal. And then we come to uk, negating eide. This comes from eido. Should probably also write that down. Pretty weird word, but fairly common actually. Because we got, I think oida is related to that word. Eido would be the unused present. So with this, we have a contraction of the augmenting vowel at the beginning. So epsilon, epsilon, iota. Now equals eta sub iota, with the epsilon iota ending off of this stem. Then we have a pluperfect. Or new, would this be, no, it wouldn't be epsilon, epsilon iota. It'd be epsilon omicron iota. Sorry, because edo oida. But third person singular pluperfect. Okay, good, right one. PLPF versus PLUP. Active and indicative, and it means to know. So, and the having been healed did not know. T esten, don't need to parse either of those since we've already seen them before. I'm going to move on before writing all this down. Ho, gar, Jesus, gar meaning for. Neither ho nor Jesus do we need to parse. X and usen, epsilon iota there for the third person singular. And then we have a sigma here, telling us that we have either the aorist or the future tense. Epsilon nu with the future doesn't work. And we've got a epsilon right here. Got a prefix with x, so the augmenting vowel comes between the prefix and the stem, which is neus. And the present is, I think, ekneuo. The verb itself being neuo. And this means to withdraw, to slip away. And the ek just tells us that he withdrew out. So I'm going to have to figure out how to say that somehow. Oklu, I should actually write that down. Third singular aorist-stem, active and negative. Oklu omicron upsilon for a genitive singular masculine noun. Ontos omicron sigma there with the stem being ont. This coming from on ontos. Also genitive singular masculine. The participle of eimi, present, of course. Since we've got two genitives right there, a noun and an adjective modifying it, this means that we've got a genitive absolute. So we're going to need to figure out, is this circumstantial, causal, temporal, or concessive, I think the other one is. So, Jesus withdrew when a crowd being in toi topoi, plus dative obisde, singular, and topos topu, masculine, in the place. Jesus withdrew because, so causal, crowd being in the place, crowd was in the place. Jesus withdrew although there was a crowd in the place. We know it's not according to Jesus' character to go into a place or stay in a place because there's a crowd, but he tends to go and head out to the wilderness. So I'm going to say causative is more likely than adversative. Yeah, that's adversative. And temporal, that doesn't make any sense. Circumstantial, likewise, doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm going to write down, and I'll join you again shortly. And there we have it. Let's take a look at it in its own context. And the man answered them, "Me having made me well, that man said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" End quote. And they asked him, "Who is the man that having said to you, 'Take up and walk'?" And who has been healed had not known who he is, for Jesus slipped out, because crowd was in the place. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day. Farewell.